If you talk to the average teenager of today and you ask them what it is about
pop culture
that they like, and the first thing they'll say is the beat.
Get yourself addicted. Woo. Woo. Get yourself addicted.
Welcome into the Pop Culture Piledriver. Get addicted to the content. I am Jason Rossi. You can follow me across all social media platforms at Jason D Rossi, and you can follow our show over on Twitter at Pop Culture PD. With me, as always, my tag team partner in the podcast sphere. He can be followed along some social media platforms at Billy D 2411. Not on Twitter because he gets booted out of there on the regular. Guy's just scraping up the shrimps from the bottom of the sea, and then somehow that stuff gets pulled. I wonder if that song is even still getting copyright strikes that you got pulled from, Bill. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're,
you think so?
It's bag raiders that.
They should be thankful that people cared enough about their song, but now they're just pulling it. Just insane. But you can follow him on Twitter at Billy Yee 2411. And for Valentine's Day only, a very special week on Billy's OnlyFans, he will be dipping his toes and extremities into mayonnaise, and then also he'll be making chocolate-covered versions of himself. So be checking that out over on his OnlyFans. He is Billy D 24. I'm going to almost say your full name. Billy D, what's going on, man?
Hello. Yeah, a little bit. No cold open either, but we're switching things up
because people really remember. People are going to question, Bill. People are going to question. I know. We'll do it now. Now here's the floor. Now here it is. This is where you can hit it. It's hot. Hot starts.
I didn't pull it up. It was going to be a lyric thing, but I didn't look at it. So
what the hell's going on here? What are we doing? Well, Bill, today
I don't know what the hell a hot open is.
You don't, or you do?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know what a hot open is, Bill. I know a lot about you, your personal life, your history. You know a lot about a hot open. But today we are going to be getting to a female musical artist tier list. We polled people on social medias. Billy came up with the list. He had a lot of good ones in there. Some ones I think we'll have some fun with. I added to that. We're going to go through 31 female voices in just a few minutes. So we have our tier list up. There'll be 6 categories. We'll go over that in just a few minutes. But Bill, for this podcast, people, what do you got?
I was just going to say, speaking of voices, you got to check out the male voice of one Ryan Davey, who sounded like Buffalo Bill. I don't even know. It was one of the funniest things in the history of our DSG. I was dying laughing.
So context here, Dork Podcast, they're doing a podcast 24 hours previous to when we're recording now, if you're listening to us whenever. And honestly, I sometimes catch them live. It depends on the topic. I'm a big topic guy with them. I think they're great either way. But I'll usually just download the pod, hit play for support. But Mac from the Mac and Goo podcast hits us up and is like an all-time dork going on. So I'm thinking they're arguing something. I click play on that YouTube video, Bill, and it sounded, I thought the whole thing was messed up. So that's what I thought. Because this podcast, Billy audio for a little bit. You're muted, by the way. And speaking of which, but you had audio issues a couple times,
yes,
which was hilarious in its own right. Well, frustratingly hilarious. But then I'm listening to David, and he just sounds a little bit like this. It was almost like Bane, and it was bizarre.
I think, what is it? Keith said he sounded like Happy Gilmore's old boss, the giant guy. God, I didn't even...
I believe that's Mr. Gilmore's.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So
great.
I don't care if you listen to the Dork podcast, you don't. If there's ever a time, just check out just for the audio of one of the men's voices that you hear. That's our own Davey Eyeballs. But that was something else. It really was. He'll make his own. We'll make our own tier list about that stuff. But speaking of which, yes, we're going to get into female artists in just a few moments. Build podcast. We get a lot of great audio samples and music brought to us by Oh Yeah. Where can people find their music?
I would go to Spotify, check them out there. They have a bunch of new songs. Actually, one of our friends, not a friend of the podcast, because she said, "Why would I listen to you guys?" But one of our friends, nice. Caitlin, said,
"Piece of crap."
Yeah, she's recently become a huge fan of them too. So they're a legit awesome band. So please go check them out. They do a lot of stuff for us. It would be nice.
Yeah, support those that support your friends and support each other. And if you can, share this podcast with a friend. If you're finding us on Facebook, on Twitter, on a podcast app, want to give you a shout out there. If you can find us on iTunes, give it a quick download or subscribe. Listen when you can listen. Share, be a friend, share it with a friend. A 5-star review would go a long way. It takes all of 13 seconds. Make up a stupid username you didn't realize you already did. Mine, nobody would even know. I made up a dumb name one time, and I realized you can't change it after you make it, by the way. So whatever you make your iTunes reviewer's name, it just sticks. So it could be Billy D. It could be, I forget what mine is. Mine's like nonsense. So, but yeah, you can find us across all social media platforms. You can find us as well over on Spotify. We didn't pull ourselves, but we're reviewing you, right, Bill? Are we going to stand against Joe Rogan? Is there a police in your house? What the hell's going on, Bill?
Yeah.
I just hear police. Is that real? But yeah, so you can check us out over on anywhere you get your podcast. But we are going to get into our tier list in just a few moments. So we have a little intro to get us there.
You know I can do what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna be.
But did you get arrested?
Am I back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but were you arrested?
No, I don't know what the hell happened. I just went out.
No, you didn't just go out. There was a bunch of police sirens. You
Oh, you
started
could
looking.
hear that?
I could hear police sirens. You started wigging out, and then you were gone.
All right.
I'm
well,
concerned.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Aren't you on like a third floor?
I am on a third floor.
How was that police? That was very, very loud. Very.
Yeah, I don't know
loud.
how you heard it that well, too. Yeah, no, the fuzz I don't think is after me, but yeah, that was fun.
It was a blast. So yes, our tier list you can see on the screen if you are watching us on YouTube, or if you can listen as well. But we also, if you are just listening to this, obviously we'll give you all the full categories and the artists we're going to go over. Again, this is not every female artist. It's hard to put them all in there, especially we kind of keep this thing to a certain time frame. But the categories that we're doing for this one, Bill, first time we've done 6 categories. So we have the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Can there be multiple? No. Will there be? Yes. Iconic.
I think that's out the window by now. There's so many goats. Like it's just one of those things that has taken on a life of its own.
Where do you stand? I actually hate when people say goats.
No, he's a goat.
I get it.
He's a greatest of all time.
Yeah,
I
but
think you have to
yes,
add the caveat of he's a greatest of all time, not the greatest of all time.
she as well. But yeah, I get.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I just like obviously Tom Brady retired last week, and it's like he's the GOAT. Yeah, you heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank God you're not where you used to work, Bill, because your week would have been very busy last week. Could you imagine the specials?
The amount of Brady B-rolls that I had to cut in montages. It's sickening. But yeah, like he is a GOAT definitively. Gretzky's a GOAT definitively, and then I don't think there are definitive GOATs in other sports really.
No, I think, that's the thing. But in general, like even like what we're going to go through here with artists, like it's all opinion based too. But yeah, so GOAT, then we get the secondary categories: iconic, one note, slept on. So maybe artists you're like, oh yeah, little pitchy, just maybe not the best vocals in our opinions. And then just not for me, dog. So
Two Randy Jacksons. So yeah.
The bottom 2 straight out of early American Idol. I don't know where Randy Jackson is right now, but I hope he's doing well. I like that guy.
Yeah, but if you saw him, you would definitely get his autograph, though. You're not going to not get his autograph.
You can't not get it, Bill. All right, so we'll kick it off with this is an alphabetical order, just in case you're wondering why, because when you put images into this thing, if you ever want to make a tier list of your own, go to Tier Maker. It's amazing.
By the way, their logo, I know you can't see it, but it kind of looks like the Wordle logo or like the Wordle display.
Okay, question about that. Are you in on Wordle?
So I'm dumb and I'm dyslexic. I fail so many times that I just stop. Every once in a while, if somebody's being super annoying, like if you refresh your internet browser, you can be like, ha, beat it in 2. Because like you can just like go back and so like if somebody's being like a dick at work and they're like, oh, I got it in 3, I'm like, oh, I got it in 2.
Okay. See, I've never done it. I don't really download a lot of like games or apps or anything smart maybe, but that, I don't know what it is. Once everybody started posting on social media, I just didn't understand why we post about it. But I mean,
Keith says he gets it every time and I'm just stupid. Like I'm terrible with spelling. Like I could be down to 4 letters with 4 tries left and I'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I'm not the greatest with spelling. That the red squiggly line was made for you, boy. So we'll kick this puppy off here. No Wordle. A heavy hitter to start us off, Bill. Adele.
One note. She's one note.
Are we serious right now?
She only
She's
has
one-
one kind of song. She has a great voice, but it's only in one particular range. It's true. Tell me she doesn't.
Have you? I can tell. I can break it down album by album. Have you listened to her? Did you ever listen to Chasing Paper? Just because her voice is angelic, the voice of an angel, it's not one note.
It's pretty like consistently the same.
Oh, this is gonna get ugly to start. Oh, I can't wait till I get some artists you like.
I'm sorry.
I did completely. No, you don't have to be sorry. That's what you believe. That's your opinion. It's all good. Your opinion can be wrong. I was once told that by somebody that's a co-host on this podcast. But dude, I completely disagree. I think she's the voice of the generation. I
don't think so at
there
all.
doesn't. Who the hell's the voice of this generation?
There's a lot of people I would say who have way better voices than her. She has
better voice than Adele. Are you insane?
She has one. She like even when we were doing the draft with Mac and Davey and I believe who was the other person? You. Like you drafted, I believe, Adele, and instantly everybody was like, "Well, I know what your song's gonna sound like," because she has a sound. It's one particular sound.
Oh, I disagree with
her
that.
voice, especially her voice.
Her voice is insane. And it does change. Yes, I understand what you're saying. It has like that.
It's one range though. Like it can go
but
up and down.
No. What are you talking about? It
Carey.
absolutely can.
She's not Whitney Houston.
She's not Mariah Carey. She's Adele. God damn it.
Yeah, which is fine. I'll put her in iconic if we want to compromise here. I don't think she's a GOAT.
Do not. You don't see. I was leaning towards GOAT, but I think I was going to put iconic. So you have one note. I have iconic. For now, we'll just put her in one note, but we'll come back to that because at the end we'll be able to move things. But oof, I didn't see that coming. All right, our second artist is Alicia Keys. Where do you place Alicia Keys?
I would put her in iconic.
Freaking kidding me. So Alicia Keys iconic and Adele's over here.
I don't think it's necessarily like these are tiers, but they're not necessarily like. They're more categories.
Yeah, I honestly, I had her also as an iconic. She's like, you know what's weird? I probably could have put her at one note, but again, these categories don't mean, I don't think she hits just one note, but I also don't think she has like the music catalog that people would recognize as much. Like she has those big hits, Fallen. But I don't find her to be like a huge artist in general. Like her, like
I think she's one of the most artistic artists. Like she does all her music. Like she to me is more of an artist than a lot of the people on here because she does all of the music. But if I'm going strictly by vocals, even her vocals are all over the map in a good way. Like I think she is super talented and has a lot of range where I think Adele, maybe she has range, but she kind of stays in a certain spot.
Listen to more Adele, you son
I do.
And then you don't, because you would know she has more range than just what you hear in like the big hits. Like Rolling the Deep sounds totally different than her new song. It's like totally different ranges. All right, up third, we're just gonna argue about Adele. We're gonna cancel this tier list in about 2 minutes. It's gonna become an Adele argument. Up third, I'll start with this category. It's Amy Lee of Evanescence. And I'm like, she could be put in probably almost every single category. I was thinking about there's about 4 people I think can go in every category. Maybe hard on GOAT, but I'm putting her on Slept On.
Yeah, I put her on Slept On.
That's just where I'm okay. Because I looked at her and I was like, she is just one of those voices that, like, you know, that genre of music that was kind of like heavy rock too at that time. Like if you listen to Evanescence, especially for that time, featuring like, what was it, like 44 Stone or whatever that song was. But she, man, does she got range. She has like, I think she was an opera singer prior to Evanescence. So she can really get deep on it. But like, I don't think people think about her, obviously, like they did, what was that, 16 plus years ago now?
20 years ago.
But she, oh my God, aging us. That was like, no, 2002. I don't think were they on that list? But anyways, like she
was around there. Like she was in like, if not late high school, early college.
She definitely was. No, I think you're right. It had to be like 2002, 2003. And then they had their second album that stayed popular. And now they're just making music. But that
back to like 2003.
Wow. So 19 years ago. What a tune too.
Oh, phenomenal.
God, that's a great song.
It's really a fantastic
song. She had like
song.
Sober.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that she's just like a perfect, like slept on voice. If people just listen to her, like that's amazing. Like her voice is just, it's got a lot going on. All right. So we'll move on to our next A. A lot of A's here, by the way. Amy Winehouse, Bill. When you hear the name Amy Winehouse, aside from this tragedy, where do you think she fits in this?
I put her
wonderful
also
little
in
series?
iconic. I mean, if I'm going just on the voice, her cover of Valerie alone does it for me, but she has so many, which I believe is Mark Ronson's song for some reason. Uh, even though she
Yes.
sings the whole thing.
All of her music is like almost Mark Ronson song.
But I always thought like it would, to me, that was one of those like really lost an artist way too early in their career, because she had
Oh
like
my God, yeah.
she has a voice that even to this day, like there's very few people's voices who, like I always say the guy from Franz Ferdinand, but like her voice, like you feel it a little bit.
Yeah, I think she had something special with her voice, her connection. Obviously, what we found to be her struggles through her music. And yeah, I was toying between. I don't think she's a one note, but I was trying to think like how to categorize that. Like I don't think her voice is, but I was putting it somewhere there. I could have went slept on too, because I feel like she's just not talked about. Like of all the posts I put out there, one person said Amy Winehouse. I had her on my original list. I was toying between that, so we'll put her in iconic for now. By the way, we have some feedback coming in, and so far everyone agrees with you on Adele.
They do
Early feedback. Yep.
nice.
Yep. I'm getting early feedback. People agreeing with Bill, and I'm not happy about it. Up next, this is an interesting artist from Heart, Ann Wilson.
I mean,
A lot of people would. She's
That's a fire
arguably
voice. Yeah.
It's arguably the greatest voice in rock and roll history. Some people, like I've read some blogs on like Paste and stuff like that, super artsy and nerdy blogs.
Well, this one was yours. This wasn't mine. I know her. I know the songs, but I can't delve too deeply into her. So you can
I'm with
post
you.
her
So-
up if you want.
So I kind of went and slept on again. I think that's where a lot of these like rock chicks are gonna go. I could see why people think she's iconic. I could also see people thinking, no, maybe a little pitchy, just be not her voice, but like just like she's a little off the beaten path. But I'll put her on slept on for now because man, just amazing.
But, I mean,
range.
for me, all I really know off the top is Barracuda.
Well, that's the biggest song. But if you like got into some other, I can't think of all my Heart songs right now, but I tried to listen to, basically what I did is I looked at like who the most popular female artists were, and I just listened to like as many songs as I could while working.
I just kind of rattled.
Some sounded good.
Yeah. I literally did I rattled all of my favorite ones off after
Yep.
when you asked me, because I was slacking on doing the list. And then
You're fine.
I think I got 15 out, and then I put in an extra 5, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Annie Lennox of the Eurythmics and also solo career will be up next. Bill, where do you think Annie Lennox should fall here?
I mean, she's good, but not for me. I think somebody's got to fill out that category.
You know what's funny? I had her as a not for me dog either.
Really? All right.
I think she's that's where I had her, but I think she's great. I just never, her voice somehow draws on me, and it could be the music, but it literally makes me almost anxious. Her voice, this sounds bizarre as hell, but like Sweet Dreams, great performance, but it almost puts me in this it draws on me and makes me a little paranoid. I don't know, and it's also the music and the ambiance of everything. But yeah, I mean,
obviously, what is it? Walking on Broken Glass. But I know her.
It's another one though. It just
it's not for me.
More. Oh, yeah. All right, so we'll put her down there for now. People can hate us later. Next up, Aretha Franklin, Bill, the godmother of soul. I don't know if that's what she's called, but I'm giving her that title today. She, again, a music catalog that you don't need to know the original, but you've heard every one of her songs. It's been recreated since the 60s. Aretha Franklin, her voice, it always gets a little interesting because she doesn't have the most overly powerful voice, in my opinion.
Really?
But
I think she has
I don't. We're going to play this game. You think she has a more powerful voice than Adele? Is that what you're about to say? She has a more powerful voice than Adele?
I do.
A powerful voice?
And powerful with range. She is, I think, to me, she's a GOAT, easy.
Okay.
For literally female vocals, I mean, we have to give her the R. I can't even spell. This is why I'm bad at Wordle.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. I think Michael Scott famously misspells it.
Oh, that's one of the Office.
RESBCT.
Yeah. Sidebar about this. Obviously, I just started watching The Office, like a year ago now, when we were reviewing the show. It's literally right up there now with my like sometimes it's become my go to bed show. And I never saw that. Like I didn't watch a show before a year ago. And now it's literally like one of my favorite shows to watch.
I mean, it is
Well,
it was the entire world's like going to bed busy show for years.
Not everybody watched Goosebumps and How I Met Your Mother like I do. Oh, well, I think I still am the reason that Goosebumps is still on Netflix. If you're ever wondering if you want to watch a little Y7 before bed, that was the rating. But back to Aretha Franklin. Yeah, the music catalog is iconic. I could have went in different. I actually had her as an iconic, but let's move her into GOAT. Let's get that category started. Because she to me is, like, and this is the weird thing. Obviously, I think there's always like the past is going to kind of outweigh the current in like the recent past. It's like ageist biased. What would this be called? Like or nostalgia bias? That's not even nostalgic. She's just like the original.
She has
like,
the resume you're told
things.
from like a long time. Like she is the greatest voice of all time. So, but she is like she can back it up. She has the pipes to do it. She's probably not. She's not even like Tina Turner or, in that Patty, like in that 70s disco era. She's even before that. And I think Goose said about when you picked Whistle While You Work, anything before like a certain time stinks. She was at like the come up of like music. She was one of the first big, huge stars.
Yeah, we're getting a couple people saying iconic for sure. So we're getting some feedback on that as well. All right. So from Aretha Franklin, we jump into Ariana Grande. Bill, what says you on Ariana Grande?
I don't know, like I don't know how her public perception actually is because I don't, delve with a lot of people who listen to her regularly. I would say she got
jams.
Yeah, well, song-wise, she's amazing. I like most of her songs.
Though.
Voice-wise, I'd say she's either slept on or iconic, depending on how, like, I don't know how she's talked about. I think her voice is phenomenal. I think she has one of the best voices in music today.
See, I completely disagree. I think she's like a little pitchy. I think she has that like kind of like mousy-ish voice, and the like production really exuberates all that. And also, it's hard. It's hard in today's world with a lot of artists because they're hidden behind so much, right? Like that's where I think Ariana Grande. Maybe that's where I'm biased towards it, but I feel like a lot of her music is like hidden behind so much overproduction, and I think that's with a lot of artists that like different from Adele. Adele's music is kind of like toned below her voice, where like a lot of artists, the music and like the the bass, the treble, all that's like pushing over their voice. So for me, it was a little pitchy. You were thinking iconic over freaking Adele.
I mean, we could go a little pitchy. I'm fine, but like she is a little bit pitchy, I guess. I don't know. Like I like her.
Well, it's not like I know she could hit the notes. I get that, but I'm just saying.
I just think she has. She might not have the most powerful voice, but I think she has, out of all the people we've done, one of the best ranges.
Oh God, everyone's on Billy's side. This is insane.
Who is everybody?
There's people. We got viewers we got Facebook viewers. We got some YouTubes. Don't like this so far. I'm feeling uncomfortable in my own skin. All right, so up next, Bill, we finally get out of the A's and we go to the B's. Beyonce.
I put her as a GOAT. I think she has one of the best voices in the history of music. I really do. I honestly think she's a little slept on. We can put her there too, because I don't think she gets the credit for having one of. And I think Kelly Rowland is prettier, but I think Beyonce has the best voice of. No, I know, but my preference for looks was Kelly Rowland, but Beyonce, I think for me, she's one of my favorite.
She was in the little pitchy to me as well. I think she's really good, but I don't think she has that over the top voice. Some performances I've seen, it's like, wow. And then other performances I've seen, it's like, meh. Like, I feel like she's kind of like I feel like the talent's obviously there. She's amazing. She's like, people call her a queen because they're foolish, but I also don't like it.
I think Beyonce, some people just get wowed by like the Adele factor of, wow, this woman's just blowing you away with a powerful voice. But like to me, it's more about the range and being all over the spectrum and being able to. She can do any kind of a song. She can even rap. Not that we're doing that, but like
poorly. She also can.
Her verse in the Megan Thee Stallion thing was fucking great.
Oh, get out of town. And she was just the fact that she was on telephone. That might be one of the worst recorded songs ever, which another artist will get to. So I was leaning little pitchy. Where were you leaning? GOAT?
I was leading. I'll stick her an iconic
Well,
if we have to. I might move her
No,
up.
we have to. Well, we have to split the difference. She's either going one note right next to your girl Adele. You want to go what do you want to do?
I guess we gotta go slept on.
All right, we'll go
No,
slept.
go
on
one
first.
note because then I'll move her up to iconic. That'll be my move.
There you go. All right, good. Because I'm somehow making Adele above GOAT. It's weird. Up next, Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, I mean,
personally-
that's your person, and I didn't take a look at your list beforehand. I would say
I
to
didn't
me,
share it
she's
yet.
a little
Okay.
pitchy. If I have to put her anywhere,
Okay. Okay. See, I would put her as like an iconic but I get why. Like, to be honest, that's bias. So if I'm being honest, she'll probably be either one note or somewhere because she could also go slept on. But I see where you're going here because Carrie Underwood, again, has an amazing voice, but her music doesn't always highlight that. When you're a country artist, especially, I feel like obviously recent countries like pop country and like some of their songs.
To the side.
I
It's a
told you,
great
Bill.
song.
If there's a song I could ever be in the recording booth with, I just want to sing the backup vocals. 4-wheel drive. Anyways, so
I would put her in one note. One note's fair.
I'll put her at one note. With like some of the best artists of the generation. Look at that. You got Adele, Beyonce, Carrie Underwood.
Also,
Up next,
like
Bill.
female
Go ahead, please.
the females dominate the beginning of the alphabet.
They really do. We're
only
just
on
in the
friggin'
C.
C.
And we have what 31 total. Anyways, okay, so we'll get into this one. I don't think either one of us know much of her catalog. One of my friend of the pod and good friend of mine, Pat, his dad was the biggest stan for this because I don't even know what stan was back then. Celine Dion. Bill, you know how many people hit me up with Celine Dion when I put this on the Reddit? I put this on my Facebook. Like, so everyone's like, Celine Dion, Celine Dion, Celine Dion. I'm like, good Lord. The love for Celine Dion, I personally don't have it. Is her voice amazing? Yes. But what says you?
I would put her in iconic, and it's an iconic voice. Like, and I think that
Yeah,
proves it
that
right
fits.
there. She is. I mean, I think they make fun of her on SNL. And who else is not Gloria Gaynor, Gloria Estefan when they do like the Divas thing. That's a pretty funny thing. But
that's amazing.
It's all coming back to me. I mean, my heart will go on when we were in 9th grade with Titanic.
No, before that, Bill. That was 97. Yeah, 7th grade, I think.
7th grade. Either way, it was on. Yeah. It was on Jim and 94.5's Hot 5 at 9. And it wasn't even a fucking rap or hip hop song. That's how big of a song it was. She is at minimum iconic. Like if we're going strictly voice, she's probably the second best voice we've talked about so far. Yeah. Her and Aretha, but
she actually might be the best voice. Don't sleep on Ann Wilson. But yeah, I agree with you there. Like she really does. Like it is pop. Like I was listening to something, like, man, and talk about range. She did a lot. Just so people don't yell at me, we did not put Cher on this list. Up next, Bill, teeny bopper to voice host or whatever they do on The Voice, judge, Christina Aguilera.
I'll say she's one note because I think she only does one version well.
This is getting silly. She might be one. I don't think her voice is talked about anymore, but she literally, like, especially from that time when you had like Britney Spears, Mandy Moore, Jessica Simpson, all that. Like Christina Aguilera was like a ridiculous voice compared. Her voice might be the best. I actually think she might have the best voice on the list.
I just think when she sings softly, she kind of just talks. Like when she belts it out, it's great, but I don't think she has a lot of, function to her voice. I think it's
completely disagree. All right. I need you to, I don't care about Adele anymore. I need you to just sit down to the whole Christina Aguilera catalog.
I mean, it was my sister's favorite artist growing up, her and Britney, but definitely more Christina because Christina was more of the singer, I guess.
Yeah, Christina Aguilera is one of the best. I could see it going in a lot of directions here because, again, it's 2022. We're sitting here. We do have like whatever has happened over the last 15 years of kind of meh and like weird songs and like moves like Jagger. But even her voice in that, like she has the range. Her voice is ridiculous. So to me, I honestly could put her as high as GOAT, but I could go as low as wherever you're thinking. So it really comes down to you.
I'd put her at one note. Me personally.
Oof, look at the power. That's literally like throw Beyonce in the trash, but that is a powerful situation there. All right, we'll go to Dolly Parton, Bill. Where do you put Dolly Parton?
All right. So after you slandered Dolly Parton last week, I did look it up. She is the biggest female country star ever. She's one of the best voices, and she like wrote so many like hits.
Oh yeah, she's like a Neil Diamond.
Yeah. I would put her in Slept On because her voice, I think, is actually pretty unique.
Yeah, she's enough.
Because it's
for me,
very
dogs, but
lilting and
I'll
she
put
can go all over the map with it. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, good for you. I think Dolly Parton puts me to bed, so she's
Really?
ain't for me. Like a 9 to 5, like she has fun songs, but I don't know. I think she's like a gimmick. I don't know.
You don't like
why.
Jolene? You don't like I Will Always Love You?
It's not that I don't like them. I'm not going to them. And Jolene has been covered by artists. I think that's another thing. She also has this weird. She was in this category.
She's
of
like a
time
Bob
where-
Dylan almost. She wrote so many songs that were so great. People have been covering them for decades.
Here comes a brawl. Coming up next, Bill, Dua Lipa, which I was
Okay.
stunned she was even on your list.
I mean, I love Dua Lipa. Her voice is pretty good. Even she said her music teacher in high school said that she would never be famous.
Love
So
that.
she showed her. But I think her music is fantastic, but I don't know if her voice is a voice of a generation from purely vocals.
Yeah.
I would put her kind of a one-note vocal.
I had her as either I had her at little pitchy because I love Dua Lipa. I love her
Yeah.
music. I'd see her in concert. It's not always about the artist, but I think her music, her voice doesn't do much for me though. I think she could be anybody. And I hate to say that, like, obviously she's talented, but like, it's the Britney Spears effect to me a little bit. Like she got hot at the right time and things just worked, right? Like,
I think she definitely has a better
quarterback in the
voice
right
than like Britney though.
Maybe. I'm just gonna put her in a little pitchy for now because she looks good next to Ariana Grande, and we're just killing the modern music.
I know.
Fergie is up next, Bill. Fergie.
I just put this in so we'd have a definite not for me, dog.
Yeah, I love Fergie. Her music
Not bad.
crushes at times. She actually has some amazing vocals at times, but she's just inconsistent.
Bridge. She had the
Oh, that
greatest,
song.
for a bad reason, the greatest national anthem in the history of NBA games, minimum NBA games, maybe ever. Most memorable for sure.
That alone, you can't really put her anywhere above. That's when you know the person's voice, right? Like that. There's no hiding your voice there. But she's a great like range and look, and there's a lot of great stuff there. And she's not in the Black Eyed Peas anymore, so we'll be seeing you. So not for me, dog is. So now Annie Lennox and Fergie. Boy, there's gonna be a lot of people saying things at some point. All right, let's bang through the next few ones. Florence Welsh, Bill, from Florence and the Machine. This is I have her as a little pitchy. I think she has a great voice, but I like her. Like that's how I have.
It's because you're FNX days.
This is my everything days. Actually, this is FNX was sold. This is when I was like at 92.9 and we played the crap out of like Dog Days Are Over and stuff.
Yeah, they're fine. I can deal with a little pitchy there.
Yeah. Next up, we'll go Hayley Williams of Paramore.
I think she's pretty iconic. I love her voice, but yeah, I mean, maybe she's the problem that you have with Adele, I have with her. But I think she does have a little bit more ability from like low to high, high to low, where she's got a super powerful voice and she's basically screaming at certain times. But Paramore is one of my favorite bands, so I think I have to at least give it iconic.
Yeah, I love Paramore like nobody's business, but I'm looking what I'm stacking the deck against. Like I cannot put her over.
They are a one-note
Christina.
band.
That's why, like, I would even put Slept On maybe because it's like I got Adele, Beyonce, Carrie Underwood, and Christina Aguilera, and I'm putting Hayley Williams over that. I can't do it. Like
that's fair. I think she definitely is a
sleep.
slept-on voice.
Yeah, I'll go Slept On, and I think she might fit that category perfectly, in my opinion. So does the next artist, someone you put in here.
By the
Jessie
way,
J.
Really quickly, we're stacking this the way it kind of should. One goat, couple of icons, mostly one note, slept on, and then little pitchy and not for me, dog.
I'm just going to project forward real quick. I think there's the ability for potentially 2 more goats, and everything else is going to be interesting, in my opinion.
All right. So I think there's one unanimous goat for sure still left on the board, but I will put where are we at?
Jessie J now.
I will put her on Slept On because I think she is a phenomenal talent. I think her voice is insane. Just go listen to Bang Bang. Basically, when we created a group, I tried to recreate that with Anderson .Paak.
honestly, I don't know enough Jessie J. What was she in that? It's all about the money, or whatever that song was. And then like she had a couple solo hits that never like went to that next level. I'd say Slept On. I could also go a little pitchy. She doesn't, but she does have like that powerful, and then she has that like baby. She's like baby Christina Aguilera, like infant Christina Aguilera, in my opinion, with her range and the big vocals. Speaking about big vocals in a weird way and crazy range, but depends on what you think of range. Jewel. She can yodel. She rapped for a little bit. She had that career almost killer. And what was that? Intuition, whatever happened there with her midlife crisis or whatever happened. Then she got the teeth done. She's been on roasts. Haven't heard much new music from her in a little bit, but what do you think of the artist Jewel, Bill?
When I hear Jewel, I think of Renee Zellweger. What's her name?
Yes.
I just
Renee
think of
Zellweger.
her. And then I think of the time Kurt Loder corrected her poetry grammar and she told him to fuck off or something.
Amazing. It was that like
definitely
one of those. Go ahead.
It was one of those MTV interview things.
Yeah, but she was like they were at something. They were like a
they might have been at Woodstock. Who knows?
Something like
because I know she played it. I think she was in that Woodstock documentary. She's not for me, dog.
I'll put her there. I love Jewel, but I can understand that. She has a very unique skill set with her music, and I can understand people loving her or maybe not loving her. Speaking about another artist that Bill, we got like we're down to I think our final, a little over handful here, maybe 2 handful. Joni Mitchell.
I'll
It's
let
on
you
your
go first
list.
here. It was?
Thought it was. Maybe it isn't. I got no love for Joni Mitchell. I'm not saying she's not a good artist, but I listen to her music. That voice ain't doing. It's just there. It is just absolutely there. So I'm gonna go not for me, dog. You might not been yours. Might have been suggested.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna put her on there to give me something again to put for a little pitchy.
Okay.
But
so you want to put? We can go either way. You can make this call. You get the power. You get the power of vote right now.
yeah, we'll put her there for right now.
All right, so she'll go a little pitchy. Up next, Kelly Clarkson, the first ever American Idol. Now she's a talk show host. Body positivity, love her message, love what she stands for. But when it comes to her voice, amazing, talented voice, Bill. But where do you place Kelly Clarkson?
I mean, for voice-wise, and then that's what we're doing here. I don't have to keep saying that, but I put her at iconic. I think her voice, she was the first American Idol, so already kind of iconic to be an idol.
Good
and
point.
to be the
Good
first one. Since You've Been Gone is one of my favorite songs of all time. And I think her voice legitimately deserves this, whether it's Mr. Know-It-All or A Moment Like This or Since You've Been Gone. I mean,
Mr. Know-It-All has no voice specialty, but I think after that, yeah, that's where you.
I was just naming her songs, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she, like you said, I think that you really did. You put it over top. She's the first person to win basically a voice category in major television history, right? Like, I know there was American Bands, there was all stuff in the past, and there was Star Searches, but like American Idol in what was that, 2002, 2001 time frame?
2002, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so think about it. That's 20 years ago. You know the name Kelly Clarkson. I get the voice, but like her voice brought her there. And it was basically, that's all they showcased. It was cover songs for years. I think they ended up bringing originals. I don't know what they do today. I don't even know who the hosts are or anything, but I think Lionel Richie's on there. But like, that's a really good and strong point. So obviously, listen, you can have, this is a lot of controversy that comes with this. The fact that like Kelly Clarkson's over basically everybody on one note to people probably already shut us off and want us burnt at the stake, but this is why we do it. This is a Pop Culture Piledriver. Subscribe on iTunes. Up next, Bill, another heavy hitter. Lady Gaga. Maybe one of the more talented overall, like you said about Alicia Keys. Great artist. Where would you put Lady Gaga?
So she was also a recent Super Bowl halftime performer, and we had her up there at the tippy top on our Super Bowl halftime performer list. That's one of my favorites. I think she's got a great register too. Like, she can hit a lot of different notes. She can get a lot of different ranges out of herself. I don't think I could put her in one note, and I don't even think I can put her in Slept On. I think she's legitimately an icon for her voice and her overall talent.
I have to agree. I had a lot of these artists, like, just again, I almost want to put her in one note just because it just looks like an amazing category. But like, I could see a lot
But
of
she
people
has too
putting
many
her-
different kinds of songs to be considered one note. And sometimes you
No,
can
I
have the
agree.
same voice on a different beat or a different genre. But I mean, whether she's singing with Bradley Cooper or Tony Bennett
This-
or with Akon,
Yes.
she is a superstar.
Aside from the Beyonce telephone song I mentioned earlier, she really can do it all. And she sings about Nebraska. But yeah, she could even be a GOAT to me. Like I could see it. The conversation could be there. You just mentioned she has #1 hits and best-selling or high-selling albums with whatever that means now with Bradley freaking Cooper. I know it's a movie. And Tony Bennett, and then everything she did on her own. Like even and like she had like a weird gimmick when her
put her in GOAT.
All
talked
right, let's just
ourselves
put her
into
up
it.
there for now. I do, because I think like she also like I hated all like the weird gimmick and wearing meat dresses and being like literally like I just felt like she was just like a shock artist for a little while. Then when she settled into what she is now, it's like amazing music too. Like the catalog's great, and she sounds amazing. Again, amazing talent. So up next, Bill, you had said this is definitely you, Laura Branigan, or however you say her name, Branigan. What are we doing?
Basically, just for Gloria. Her voice is crazy though. It's a crazy voice.
I'm not even having this conversation with you. If we have Adele and you're crapping on people like Chris, well, you didn't crap on Christina, you crapped on Adele. I'm not even a starter.
We can put her in a little pitchy, but her voice. Go listen to Gloria. I don't know any other song.
I know. I listen. I love the song. I love her. She had Oh crap! I remember. If it wasn't for the St. Louis Blues beating the Bruins in the Stanley Cup a few years ago, Gloria would be an all time for me. But I can't hate him. But yeah, we'll put Little Pitchy for now. She's obviously she's great, but like this is like a forgotten. Like no one even thinks of her. No one even thinks of her, Bill.
I don't know. She was one of the people I thought of because her voice is amazing.
We jump from an artist that maybe 4% of people know to maybe the voice of the previous generation, potentially, Bill. Mariah Carey.
I mean, I put her at GOAT pretty easy.
That's what I had her to go to. I had her here too. I think she
has
an outstanding
a 5
voice.
octave range or whatever the hell. Like she has one of the highest ranges in the history. She can literally shatter a piece of glass. I mean, she has a skill set that she was pretty. I mean, you work on your voice, obviously. It's a muscle that you can kind of train. But she was gifted one of the greatest voices in the history of the world.
Yeah, and she like obviously, sensationally things change in her life, but man, that voice is something else. And even like aside from that weird like I Was Drunk on New Year's Eve performance she had a couple years ago, she had one like
I still think that was on purpose. She had a reality show coming out like 2 days later.
I think that's what I remember when she was on TRL and she acted all weird and she like stripped on there, and like I feel like she's become like kind of like a gimmick a little bit, but her voice, those early 90s, just listen to all of that. Like even like the pop fun stuff she did was just her amazing vocalist.
She can hit the highs and the lows though. I think she is probably like it's just an amazing thing. Imagine if you were born with a gift like that.
But could she hit the high C all night long? Melissa Etheridge, Bill. Melissa Etheridge.
She's got a great voice.
She does.
I don't really like her. I don't turn
fair.
to Melissa Etheridge often.
I already know where you're going. She's not for you.
Yeah, not for
All
me.
Just I can tell you. It's okay to say it. I like her a lot. I think she has great, but like her voice doesn't stand. Like I know how good it is because I've also seen her do. I think she did an Unplugged. But listen, whatever. When I'm not going to draw straws and fight for Melissa Etheridge right now. Just like I think maybe the most controversial in a way artist. I think the next two are going to be very interesting. Miley Cyrus.
I think she's slept on. I think she has a great voice.
So I can go either pitchy or slept on. I some people say she's like great voice. I do not think she has a really great voice. She has a very unique voice, but I don't think it's great. So I could either go slept on or a little pitchy. So you would like slept on, we'll lean it there.
I mean, she
Obviously,
has an innumerable amount of hits. I know our boy Mac is going to be disappointed if she probably goes any lower than slept on, because I think Wrecking Ball is a great showcase of her voice. You know, she has a lot more stuff that's not a showcase of her voice, like Party in the USA. But I even love See You Again, which my niece introduced me to. So, like,
oh my God, are you
she
kidding me?
is
That song was that was her breakout song.
whammer
That was
of a
amazing.
song. Just a
I think she was in a
whammer.
group. Wasn't it like Miley Cyrus?
No, I
and
think it was
something
just
at the
her.
time?
I think it was like right. I don't know if it was.
It was
right
her first
after Hannah
song.
Montana. Was it really?
It was. Yeah, because I remember driving in like my old work vehicle with like friends that probably like PJ and stuff and listening to that. I'm gonna listen to that later.
Just a
That
stutter
song's
in.
yeah, amazing. But yeah, Miley, like I get Miley, I think of all the artists we've talked about, because she like kind of has crossed the last two like generations in a way. I feel like people like have such an either like I think people hold her in a very high regard, and sometimes I'm like, I think we got to take it easy. She also had some really crappy albums and was really like ridiculous, but like I don't know. For me, I wasn't always the biggest Miley fan. I was high on her in the beginning, dipped. I've come back recently. I love she does maybe the greatest cover artist on this list, by the way. All right, Bill. Again, this is right up there with the Dua Lipa in my opinion, but you put on Olivia Rodrigo.
I will say for now, she's one note, but I really like her.
I can't even put her there. I can't put her amongst those artists. I gotta go like pitchy, just because I don't think her voice is all that like distinct, or she actually might be the most pitchy sounding artist. But I love
this is
the way
a
her voice
huge
sounds to the
case
music.
of recency bias for me, so I'm cool with little pitchy.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. And then listen, this could be something we look back on. You never know where her voice could take her in the next few years. So this was another one a lot of people pushed. Pat Benatar.
I mean, dude, she rocks.
She does rock. But I personally like listen to a lot of that music. Like her voice doesn't jump off the page to me like an Ann Wilson, but it could be a slept on. To me, maybe that's the perfect play to go, because I think when you think of her, you're thinking more about like the whole rock scene, like her, like the Joan Jetts of the world. Obviously, her voice much more powerful than a Joan Jett. But what says you? Where do you fit in, Pat Benatar?
So if you were looking for a showcase of her voice, I would say "Love Is a Battlefield" probably gives you the best like view of what she can do range wise. Like you said, like she's probably known a little bit more for being a rocker, so maybe you put her in Slept On, because I think she's not like a I love rock and roll type of singer. I think she's a legit.
She's not drowning.
Yeah, I think she's a legit voice.
All right, so we'll put her in Slept On for now. We got our final three. This is one coming out of your category. Shocked me. I didn't even think you really knew much about this artist, Bill.
Oh, Sarah Bareilles. I think she has one of the best voices in music currently. I think she's fantastic. I really do. I think I would take her over.
Don't even say it. Don't even
Adele any day.
You're insane. This is literally one of the most insane things.
She's got a way better voice.
She does not, Bill. There's not even.
It's
not even
way
opinion
better. It's not even close.
Adele's voice is like literally like angelic. I love Sarah Bareilles. I'm not trying to. Don't make me say bad things about an artist I like King of Anything. Oh, what a jam! But she just has like a voice. It is not. You don't hear that voice and go, "Whoa!" It doesn't even make you turn your head. And you're over here telling me she's got a better voice than Adele?
Yeah, I think she has a way better insanity. Voice.
What are you, crazy?
I'm putting her on.
What song have you heard and you go, man? That's Sarah Bareilles. She just blows me away.
I mean, Love, Gravity. I mean, her voice is crazy. She's the reason why I created the Slept On, because I knew I wouldn't be able to put her in GOAT.
GOAT? Are you? This is insane. Sarah Bareilles? Sarah, where's Vanessa Carlton and every other just person that stands behind a piano? This is one of the most crazy things I've ever heard you say. Ever. I thought you literally put her on there because you wanted to have like range of people. You think she could be a GOAT?
I love it. I don't know.
I'm stunned. I don't even know where to put her. At this point. She's the definition of not for me, dog, and I love Sarah Bareilles, the artist, but her voice is just like the girl sitting at the bar right now singing.
I don't agree at all.
Give me something. So we're going Slept On?
Yeah, that's the reason why I created this. Was basically
for everybody else. You're like, I need a category so I can put Sarah Bareilles in.
But you see how many people we would have had to put in like one note, little pitchy or iconic? Yeah. I think you
weren't wrong.
Was good. Yeah.
Yeah, so far. But your Sarah Bareilles take is literally going to have me waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, questioning life. Two big last ones here, Bill. Stevie Nicks.
You can go first on this one because you've rattled me with my Sarah Bareilles take. But I was holding firm.
I don't. You have to hold firm. Who gives a crap what I think? This is your opinion. It's your life. You have to sleep with yourself. And others do on the regular. But Stevie Nicks, to me, everybody holds her in this huge high regard. I understand it before my time, clearly, but I listened to her vocal performances. She's iconic. She really is. That is a voice that like just cuts right through you. You hear it. It's powerful with her. Like every time she like
Little
opens her
scratchy.
mouth and almost, absolutely has that. There is that,
which
but
I
just
like.
think she
I would
has-
give you iconic.
All right, we'll just put her there. We don't have to argue. I don't have like a huge case. We're all stunned at this point. I thought Adele was going to be the biggest hanger to leave this thing when I go upstairs and Courtney's like, "Oh, what did you do?" And I'm going to say we argued them. I went crazy over Sarah Bareilles. She'll be like, "Oh my god, I love Sarah Bareilles." I'm like, "Yeah, everyone loves Sarah Bareilles. It's not about her goddamn voice." All right, last one, Bill, and definitely not least, Whitney Houston.
Yeah, I mean she's a goat.
She's a goat. Like, holy cow. Like she really like even
I
like,
listened
you know,
to "I
how
Will
did-
Always Love You" yesterday, and it moved me emotionally. Like no lie,
because
I was like, huh? Like just her voice,
If you
like
get-
when she kicks it in, it's crazy.
yeah,
And
she
so is she, literally. But
Oh well, yeah. R.I.P. By the way, R.I.P. But she literally is just a voice that like every song. And I said this, her and Mariah Carey. I think what a good like follow up. Like it was Whitney Houston was probably like 4 or 5 years before Mariah Carey even hit the scene. Maybe a little beyond more than that. Like 85, and then Mariah Carey came like right about 90. And man, those two like they're so similar because they made pop songs pop off. Like their voice cut through them. Like it was always about their voice. And I think that's like something very special. And I think at the end of the day, these GOATs, it's hard to argue. Like I can understand people maybe thinking we're overblowing Lady Gaga a little bit.
I might
but
move her down, but just to like keep that top clean. But I will
Sure.
say about Whitney Houston, she does what everyone else tries to do effortlessly. It seems like she's not even trying, and she probably has the greatest and most powerful voice ever.
It's so true. There's very few like that you can really touch it. And what a talent, and just such a shame in reality. But at least we get to listen to her music forever. And I think her music will be remembered forever, especially she has a lot of wedding hits. So
She has a ton of wedding hits, ton of dance hits. Like that's another thing. Like she covers the map of, besides like, hip hop, but she also had like that weird 90s kind of thing where she was doing a lot of like, not that it was weird, but she had like a lot of like the female empowerment songs to go along with I want to dance with somebody, and How Will I Know? You know what I mean? Her range of types of songs, even about what they're about, is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then what was my favorite? What was the line we always used to bring up when we talked about Whitney Houston? It's like, only
It's
two
not
of you
right, but-
ahead. Yeah, but what was the line? It's like something like, I can't even think off the top of my head, but it's basically like, only two of you had dinner. I saw your credit card receipt. But there was another line there where she talks about like, I don't know, it's just amazing. It was almost
not right, but it's
like, yeah, but it's almost like Confessions before
Yeah.
Usher did Confessions, but she was more calling them out. But yeah, you got to be careful, guys. If you're going to be doing that stuff, be careful with your credit card receipts. All right. Anywho, Bill, we get to move one up, one down before we run through the categories and we finalize this list. Who do you want to move down a category?
Oh, do I really move Lady Gaga out of GOAT? I don't think she fits, so I'll move her down.
All right, we'll move her down. Who's moving up?
Who's gonna move up? Well, if I move Sarah Bareilles up to one note, she's certainly not one note.
She's the greatest voice of all time.
Who is next to Adele?
Who's next to Adele's Beyonce? So you got right now one note's Adele, Beyonce.
Move Beyonce up to
Carrie
iconic.
Underwood. Okay, Beyonce to iconic. Who am I pushing down here?
I should have pushed down. What's her name?
Adele. I thought that's what you're going to do because I'm just moving Adele up to iconic. I'm just going to make that happen so we can all go to bed properly. It was her, Christina Aguilera. I just love Adele. I'm not going to push down Sarah Bareilles yet. She's not necessarily worth it. Who do I think? I'm going to put Laura Branigan. Like, what are we doing? What is she even doing here? You don't even go here. All right, so we'll finalize the list this way. Not for me, dog. Bill, we got Annie Lennox. We have Fergie. We got Jewel. And we have Melissa Etheridge and Laura Branigan, if I'm even saying her name. I can't even speak. Little Pitchy. We have some people that believe the voice of a generation. Ariana Grande. Dua Lipa. Florence Welch of Florence and the Machine. Joni Mitchell, and Olivia Rodrigo. What a 5-pack. Give me a starting 5. Look at the both of those two.
That's pretty good.
It's great. This was good. This was a good exercise. Slept on. We have Amy Lee from Evanescence, Ann Wilson of Heart, Dolly Parton, Hayley Williams of Paramore fame, Jessie J, Miley Cyrus, who I could have moved her up too, I guess, just because. We have Pat Benatar and the greatest voice of all time, Sarah Bareilles, according to Billy. One Note. I'm going to listen to so much Sarah Bareilles and probably end up like feeling bad about how much I just lost it on you. One Note is Carrie Underwood and Christina Aguilera. Iconic. This category got fat. Alicia Keys, Amy Winehouse, Celine Dion, Kelly Clarkson. Why can't I think all of a sudden? Stevie Nicks, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Adele. Which, by the way, I think that's spot on.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Right?
Like that is
the only one I might say is kind of out of place. No, they're all iconic.
Maybe like who would you say potentially?
I was gonna say Stevie Nicks, but I think that might be one of the strongest iconic ones because like she's
Yeah,
synonymous.
but I get it.
But like, I mean, she was in a band, but like it was one of the best bands. So.
Oh yeah, and her voice is just insanity as
crazy.
well. But the only other one I could potentially see if people want to argue like Amy Winehouse, just short time frame, but her voice.
But her voice, like she separated herself. She was like, maybe it was she got the hype train behind her, and it was one of those things where like you're supposed to recognize her as a great voice, but it's legit. It is. Go listen to her.
Oh, listen, I love her. I'm a big fan. And then we wrap it up with the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Almost 2 in 1 generation a little bit, but we get Aretha Franklin, Mariah Carey, and Whitney Houston. I think we crushed this, Bill.
I don't think we did a bad job.
Well, we definitely didn't do a bad job, but I think that was
bad
good.
Guy.
I think out of for 31, we didn't put every single female vocalist because this thing would go on for 40 days. But I thought that was a really good job by us. I'll screen grab it. We'll send it out to the socials, and I think people are going to be like, wow, those guys really nailed it. What 2 amazing musical voice judges, and those 2 are the authority when it comes to female voices. Don't you think? I think we could hold cards. Female voice. Bill, that could be a new thing for you. I'm a voice judge, female voice judge.
I will say somebody at my work, when I put on like my on repeat, besides like, oh yeah, it was like Paramore, Dua Lipa, Lady Gaga. They're like, what do you listen to? I was like, apparently a lot of female pop. And then Olivia Rodrigo.
Well, Olivia, listen, the music itself is a whole different category. We could just do like the music of female artists. And I think that category things would be all over the place.
I think Lady Gaga would get GOAT for that.
Yeah, I think Miley could go up there. I think,
Aretha would not be on the list.
No, she should be, but I just think overall, like it's set. That's where recency is going to jump in. It's not about the voice anymore. It's all about the music. But that is it. Those were our female tier list. You can fill one out. We'll put some in the description here in the podcast as well as on YouTube, and you can fill yours out and let us know what you think. And tell Billy, put Sarah Bareilles immediately in the GOAT category. Oh, Billy boy, we got to get things out of our head here. I'll just quickly say The Righteous Gemstones is a delight to watch.
Is it really? I didn't think you would like a show like that.
Oh, it's you know what it is? I said this to my dad actually. It's the perfect show. You're never going to care much. Like you're never going to be like, oh, it's Sunday, I got to watch Righteous Gemstones. But like when 2 weeks goes by and you're like, last night, me and my wife were like, what are we going to watch? And it was like, oh, we got Gemstones. Cool. And like, it's so enjoyable. It has almost like, I don't know. This isn't the best way to put it, but this is what's on my head. It has a Ted Lasso aspect to it, but not the heart and the fun, but that like the fun part, but not the heart.
Okay.
Super fun, but it's a bunch of jerks and a bunch of people you don't really like, but it's so fun to watch.
Fair enough.
I just give your voice changing. You just did a little Billy audio. I just really like Righteous Gemstones, and I think I don't hear enough people ever talk about it, so I think it's really good.
All right. Well, I have to watch Yellow Jacket so I can listen to the rest of Davey's dulcet tones.
Yeah, what is that even about? Like, I don't.
So people kept telling me, they're like, "Oh, it's a soccer team that crashes." I was like, "The movie Alive?" They're like, "No. It's like a female." I've heard it's got Lost vibes. So
Lost vibes.
Yeah, and now a bunch of people besides Dork have been like, it's the best show in the last few years, like better than Squid Game. So
No,
I'm a hype person. I'm big into believing in
sure.
hype. So, and I'm usually pretty positive. So I'll give it a shot. For me, I've watched a ton of stuff recently.
That was my elbow. I apologize.
Yeah, that's all good. So now what's out of my mind is I saw the movie Nobody.
Nobody. Do I know
No?
this movie?
It's
Nobody?
the dude from Better Call Saul, him, like the main guy.
That's what that movie's called? Yeah. Bob
Yeah.
Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk. We're the podcast that knows names. That movie was pretty great. I would say it's one of my favorite movies, at least of last year. Watching it now in 2022, but
Yeah.
really, I wouldn't even say fun. It's kind of like John Wick meets Suburban House Dad. He's a fucking badass in the movie.
Suburban Commando?
Pretty much. It's definitely worth a
Nice.
watch. It's kind of outlandish, but the scene on the bus, probably one of the best fight scenes I've seen in years. I've been rewatching the Harley Quinn animated show, which nobody seems to want to watch. I've been watching How To with John Wilson over and over again. Nobody seems to want to watch that. And I also saw Jackass in the theaters, and probably the third best Jackass movie, but that's not saying it's bad at all. It was a lot of fun.
How many Jackass movies are there? Isn't there only 3?
No,
4?
there's Jackass, Jackass 2, Jackass 3D, and then Jackass Forever.
Oh, and this is for I'm not.
Yeah.
Jackass was so much fun when I was a kid. I don't think I could watch it now. I don't know why.
It was
Just like it doesn't.
I turned my
I get
head
it's
quite
fine.
a few times, and I will say they had to rely on the new people a little bit because they're fucking all old, and the new people kind of babies. Like they get hit
Oh.
and like they get destroyed, obviously, but they kind of lie on the ground like I would for attention. It's like you're in Jackass, man. Pop up, show you're fine. Like Johnny Knoxville gets run over by a bull and does like a 560 or whatever it's called, a 540, gets knocked over one and a half times, and it's vicious. But yeah, it's classic Jackass. The dude, Danger Aaron, gets his dick absolutely beat off. He takes a slap shot from PK Subban. He takes a underhand softball from a female softball pitcher. He gets pogo sticked on it. Like, it was unbelievable the amount of stuff they did to this poor guy.
Oh, here's what I want to know.
He's wearing a cup. It's called Cup Check, but even still,
I don't care. That's still just disturbing. Only thing I want to know, the whole bear scene where like the guy is like a bear is coming in to like maul him. What is that?
it's exactly what it was. So they put honey and salmon in his pants. And it was obviously probably one of those train bears. You'd see it like one of the shows at Clark's.
I don't
Trading
care
Post.
though. Like I'm not playing games with.
Hell no. And at one
We've seen what
point, they
those lions
probably
did.
played it up for the camera a tiny bit when they were like, the trainer was like, now I got to go in and get him. And the bear was still super docile, but maybe they were just like, we've run this risk long enough. Now it's time to go grab him. But if I'm that dude, like, unless he knew it was a super trained bear, he was so calm. I would have.
Wasn't he also tied? Wasn't he like legit tied behind?
He was tied. It was probably the best for him.
No, I thought about like even when I see it in the commercial,
I'd pass out.
I'm like, no. I just I'm like I'm dying. I'm about to be murdered. Like my body's about to be eaten.
And they put the
not for
shit.
me.
They put the salmon in his like constraints, like down his pants. So the bear's literally going in there and putting his mouth down his pants.
Nope. No, not happening. Can't do it. Won't do it. Absolutely not. But yeah, I do understand the reason people love those movies, and there's where your nostalgia comes in, right? When you see those guys from 22 years ago, or whenever that all kind of started, what was it like CKNY originally, like tapes you'd like friends would have. Good for the guys from Jackass, and Johnny Knoxville was in the Royal Rumble, and he had a nice little spot in there. So, is there anything else that made you giggle? What's happening?
No, just what. What'd you call it? KY jelly?
No, I thought I called it CKNY, but I might have called it KNY. Whatever it was a good time. Wasn't it called CKNY?
No. I think you're thinking of DKNY.
No, I swear, wasn't that like their original like CX?
It definitely wasn't that.
KY jelly.
It's something like that. I forget what it is now.
I'm Googling as we speak. CK.
I think it was just CKY.
And oh, maybe it was. Oh yeah, CKY. No, that's a rock band. Oh, maybe that was. I don't know anymore. The hell am I even bothering with this? All right, let's just see. What did the boys do in the DS?
This week in
Shared universe.
All right, so this week in the DSG, Dork did Yellow Jackets. Changed My Mind did favorite comic book character rebrands, and Mac and Goo, of course, did the 1989 classic Aliens. Yes, I am reading that off their latest podcast. The Pineapple Boys will be taking a break because I am flying on
Super
Thursday
Bowl.
morning, Super Bowl bound, except I don't get to go to the game ever, and I fly home during the game, so that's always a lot of fun.
Question though, first time in LA?
No, I've been a few times.
Oh, okay. I've never been that far out, so that would just be cool
Oh.
in general. But you get to see the stadium. The stadium looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It should be fun.
Scope it out. WrestleMania there next year, so I gotta know. I gotta know what's haps. I thought I was gonna have something about wrestling there for a second when I said that, but I don't. But yeah, dude, enjoy the heck out of the Super Bowl. You'll be back. Are you back? Are you coming back? Do you know? You said flying home
I have
during the game.
Monday, Tuesday off, so I'm toying with the idea of just staying there because it's supposed to be like 80 all week.
You should, Bill. It's crap. Like it's 40, and we're like all excited. And you have like ice capades in your driveway, like I'm sure I do. So yeah, stay, do your thing. Maybe you could do a pod from LA. That's what I want to do. On a
All right.
plane. Can you podcast from a plane?
Probably if I had a good enough Wi-Fi connection.
Like snakes on a plane. Sometimes your Wi-Fi stinks here, so does mine. So it's probably better on a freaking plane. But that'll do it for our show. I appreciate everybody for listening. Be a friend, tell a friend, leave a 5-star review over on iTunes. Thank you to our friends in India who are listening on the Ghana podcast app. You can listen on Spotify, even though we are debating pulling our podcast from Spotify and just ruining their algorithm. Joe Rogan is a POS. Do you like Joe Rogan? I don't even know. We've talked about Joe Rogan.
Well, we're gonna go. We're gonna bash on Joe Rogan now. I don't mind.
I've never really cared for him. I don't. Only time.
Have
I
you ever
ever know anything
listened
about
to
Joe
one of it?
Rogan-
Have you ever listened to one of his podcasts?
Of course not. No, I'm not. That's why
Well,
you
then
judge
you
things,
have
'cause
no
don't.
right to talk about it.
I have no right, Bill. This is insanity. It's a yes.
It's like if you were to talk about one of these artists and you never listened to him before, and you
all I said is I think he's a POS. It's nothing to do with recency. I thought he was before. I'm not a huge fan.
Really, Fear Factor turned you off to him.
It was his UFC pre-fights. It really got to me. The only time I know anything about Joe Rogan is when our buddy Marco sends me clips that I should listen to when he talked to a wrestler. That's
All I know
is
if you take what anybody says is gospel who has a podcast, you're a moron.
Well, that's why I don't listen to you.
Yeah, no one should.
No, I completely disagree with you. I get it, but I also listen, at the end of the day, when you get famous, people are going to find things where it's naturally going to happen. I'm surprised it took this long. That's
all of the stuff that they're coming out about is legitimate, and he's apologized for it. And if you want to accept it, you accept it. If you don't, you don't. I don't ever listen to his podcast. The only thing I like about Joe Rogan is he's willing to have a conversation. He's not just going to be like, no, you're wrong. Even if you're giving him facts, he'll be like, hang on, let me look it up. Oh, no, you know what? You're right.
Yeah,
That's what I respect about his way of doing conversational podcasts is he's open to it.
Fair. I'll give you that. Like I said,
And a huge criticism is he has one-sided people on usually. So that's something he needs to get better about.
Yeah, like a little bit like what Howard Stern used to be. Now Howard Stern has become that guy who just kind of has people that are going to kind of be in line with what he is thinking. But the only funny thing about Joe Rogan is just that Aaron Rodgers mentioned him when he was through his whole controversy. And I'm like, that couldn't have been worse for either one of them. No. Anywho, that'll do it for our show. Couldn't be any worse for any of you. And if you hung through this entire time, we appreciate you. We love you. Bill, any final words for our fine folks?
Slap it on the biscuit.
Frank says hi.